the Football Pod on Off the Ball in partnership with AIB, proud sponsors of the Football, Hurling and Camogie All-Ireland Club Championships. Hashtag the toughest.
Hello there, and you're very welcome along to the Football Pod. You're welcome back to the Football Pod. There is an unbelievable couple of weeks ahead of us. It's going to do very well, and it's going to have to do a lot to top a weekend like that in Gaelic football. Have we ever experienced a weekend like we've just seen, boys? Wow. The drama, the quality, the entertainment. It was off the charts across the board.
You are a sensationalist, Tom.
Shh, no.
Carried away, isn't he?
Don't be shutting me down now. It was so good.
He was told to say that by Off the Ball. Off the Ball giving him that script.
By who? Nobody's given me any script ever. Honestly, it was.
What was the best game, Tommy? You were at about 10 of them. So what was the best game?
The best game I watched on TV was possibly Monaghan Down. It was absolutely mad.
Shootouts, yeah, I like that.
Yeah. I watched that in the Hyde, waiting on Donegal and Mayo, which was very poor in the first half and turned into a really good game. And then I thought Derry and Dublin was great, but I was really invested in it when I was at it. So maybe I made it feel better than it actually was. I don't know. What did you think of it?
Derry Dublin.
Yeah.
Derry Dublin I thought it was a great game. Very tactical. I just feel sorry for Derry. I think there's so much more in Derry. I think they played very well, but for their season to be over and without it getting going at all, it feels like they've lost every game, but they're still so good. I don't know. They're just an enigma.
It's championship, James. Somebody has to go.
I know. But I'm just saying that they're putting it up to the top teams, and yet. Yeah, they just couldn't get it done, which is fair. Look, they deserve to be out because they've lost so many games, but I just think that there's still something really there with Derry. There's still something there.
He wouldn't be as kind to Mayo, Paddy, would he?
No, we know he hates Mayo, but
I do not. That is absolute.
Oh, what was I looking like? No disrespect, as Mikey Conroy would say, but Cavan are still in the championship. Are Cavan better than Derry or Mayo? No chance.
Well, they're better. They beat me.
I know.
I know.
It's insane. It's insane. And you know what?
They deserve to beat them.
We say there's so many games and there's no jeopardy in matches and stuff like that. And you know what? That fucking game has cost Mayo. If they played that game another 50 times, they beat Cavan 49. But that loss has cost them. They're out of the championship because of that game at Castlebar. They're the hard luck stories, yeah, I agree. We were speaking to Paddy Talley after the game, off camera, and just tough goal. Derry, a really good performance again, did lots of things right, easily could have won that game, should have beaten Galway. That was a big, that last play, Matty Tierney's goal. It's a hard luck story for Derry. They played 13 Division 1 teams. It ain't easy. They haven't had any gimmies. But
it feels like, Paddy,
they just haven't been able to get over the line.
But they've kind of shed the baggage and whatever shadow was there around the
team.
I
don't know, Tommy.
I agree. I think they have.
Yeah.
I think they were definitely playing for each other, playing for the manager, playing for the cause.
Yeah.
Playing for Glass and Rogers and McGuinness, they're leaders. I think they have turned the corner in that way. I think the dressing room definitely from the outside looks a bit in better shape.
But isn't that tough? Yeah. That's it now for them. Their next game is next January.
Yeah, but I think
you know what I mean?
They'll go away and they'll put down a serious
6 months, 7 months is their next game.
Right, that's
McCluskey
Derry.
and McGuinness back. They'll be fine.
That's Derry, right? Let's just park that because there's a lot of winners to talk about here. I want to just rattle through, I suppose, the losers from the weekend very quickly because we started with it. Clare put on a show. They fell short against Louth. That year is done for them. They got a target promotion
not good enough,
back up to Division 2.
Not good enough for this level.
But they've got a target promotion back up to Division 2. That's what they need. And I know Peter Keane, speaking as a Kerry man, wasn't happy as Clare bosses the seeding system in Munster, but they got to get themselves back to Division 2 football.
That's his job. He's obviously his best interest for Clare now. If he was Kerry manager, he'd be saying seed it.
Yeah, he would for the moment.
Yeah, so he's doing his bit for Clare there, but are they going to see it?
They struggled big time. The Rossies, the race was run. Davy Buck's comments after, it's...
The arse fell out of the
We said all year it was stale.
after the 12v11. Don't be blaming me.
It was Tommy.
Than I said.
Tommy,
Don't
you
be
gave him the
blaming
kiss
me.
of death, baby.
I mean, you did tip them for the All-Ireland in February.
Shut up. I did not.
Literally
You did.
4 months ago, you were like, the Rossies, keep an eye on these for Sam Maguire, and it was like, I nearly choked on my Cocoa Pops.
Do you know, I keep getting misquoted, and my words keep getting twisted.
You can't say
like
misquoted when the video of you saying it is going around on Twitter.
That was actually
I watched
trending.
it back. I
It was
never
trending.
said it. I honestly never said it. I quoted a current and a former Roscommon footballer, and I said that they have the potential to dream and get there. And yeah, I stand by those comments. But the arse fell out of it after the 12v11 switch in March. They just never.
You think
got
it's
that.
solely that 12-11
No.
thing has ruined
No
their season?
energy in the camp, in the squad.
Flatlined.
They couldn't get it going, and that was such a big thing. So they're done. But Mayo, lads, right? The conundrum of Mayo. Fergal Boland kicks that point late on.
Yeah.
Against the wind.
Great score.
Okay, an unbelievable score. But
You're going to say he kicked it too early.
no, I'm not. But like, just watching them in the first half.
He was going to say that.
They left.
He should have waited 3 more seconds.
2-point effort short. But like, contrast that with Galway's management of the last play against Armagh. He kept the ball for 2 minutes and 20 seconds, and Connery wins that free.
No,
Is
you
there
could.
not a bit of that?
You
Is
could.
there not a bit of that?
There is. You could make that case in that last play for Mayo, where they were kind of hand passing around, and you kind of knew the ball seemed hot. You know, they were kind of dishing it off. They were really eager to get that shot off straight away, and they still picked the right shot. Bowling got a great score, but
Great score.
the thing is, the Patton could have taken his time, taken his 20 seconds, and even kicked the ball over the sideline, and Donegal would have been in the exact same position as if he did what he did and they got the score. There was nothing to be gained for Patton keeping the ball in play and getting Donegal a point. That's the actual cruel thing about it for Mayo. Like, if Mayo are going for that score, they'll go, well, geez, Donegal aren't going to risk another play, because if we beat them, they're down a spot and we'll go top. So you think that Donegal were just going to take the draw, get second in the group anyway, and off they go. But that wasn't the case. And Patton took responsibility, put the ball in the tee, and as Jim McGuinness said afterwards, went for the jugular, went for the win. And you know what? A fair play to them, but there was just nothing to be gained. It was
as good as
Patton's
kick out was. Kieran Moore, lads. The amount of runs
that kid he's a serious player.
We've been raving about him on the football pod for quite a while. Like, the rootlessness there to take that on and do that.
Having the Jets, tell me, at that stage of the game, you haven't played wing back. The way Donegal play, like, phenomenal stuff. Overly harsh here on Mayo. Like, poor old Jack Carney there, like, you know, he's a couple of goal chances which he panics and just hits them straight at Patton. Not great. He gets back into that position where he's shadowing Kieran Moore, and you're just thinking, what does this guy want to do here? Like, I mean, he's got to come back in onto his right foot, just shove him down the line, make him take a shot on his left foot, make him turn back, and just gets inside very easy. Just, I suppose, look, you're knackered. It's literally the 70 minute of the game. But Mayo look back on that score, as brilliant as Boland's score was, and the balls to take that, because was that the best shot? It was risky, you know.
He watched it all the way. He watched it all the way.
The behind was beautiful because it's some swing on it, like Mayo. You're just thinking they will curse that last play. Like, whatever. Okay, Donegal go for it, but it's just too easy for Donegal to get that score. And there's a couple of moments in there it's going, don't do that. And they do it. But to be fair, more is the positive thing is you look at the balls from Donegal, the score from Kieran Moore, fair play to them. Mayo just, like, it's the Cavan game. Goes back to that Cavan game. Yeah. Like Mayo easily could have beaten Tyrone and Donegal in those two games and be going in as group winners, like, and instead they're out of the championship on the back of
Mayo fans
fuck up performance in Castlebar.
They must be so frustrated because it's so many games with fine lines, and we're going to move on from them really quickly here. But like Derry, preliminary quarterfinal last year on penalties, the two quarterfinals to Galway by a point, the draw in the Hyde against the Dubs. Again, they played it in the Hyde, by the way.
Dublin didn't give out about that match being at Hyde Park last year, did they?
I don't remember them doing.
I don't think so. Did they?
It wasn't as big a deal.
Dublin don't go outside of Crow Park, so if they had to travel once ever.
Okay.
I didn't
think they gave out about that.
Nice for a bus trip for the Dubs, like a school tour.
But yeah,
One
Boland
down.
was only on the
that's
field
good.
3 minutes. He was only on the field 3 minutes and got that shot. Anyways, they are the losers, right? Why don't we talk about some of the winners and losers from the pod at the weekend? And I want to talk about redemption, because there was a couple of moments of redemption in Gaelic football at the weekend. We had Michael Murphy giving away a ball in the Mayo Donegal game that led to David McBride's goal. But I thought Michael Murphy's next 7 or 8 minutes was absolutely exemplary. He kicks a couple of points, he lays on, scores, he wins a massive kick out. We have Shane Walsh in the Galway Armagh game, who has that 40 or that free off the deck laid on, and he's shaping up to kick it with his left, and he sees something on his right foot, and he gives a pass back, and it's intercepted by Jardy O'Byrnes. They concede a point. Shane Walsh steps up over the next couple of minutes and kicks a clatter of scores and the free at the end to win it. But I actually thought the biggest moment of redemption at the weekend might actually go to Paddy Andrews. Because Paddy Andrews, my mentions blew up after Kerry's result in Tullamore, and it wasn't, for Football Pod listeners, having a go with James O'Donoghue. It was Meath listeners having a go at Paddy Andrews for writing off Kerry at the end of the pod, writing off Meath. He said, Jimmy, don't worry about it. Kerry won't lose to Meath. But for anyone having a laugh at Paddy's dismissal of Meath there, and I would actually say, Paddy, in your defence, you were more so kind of winding James up there more than the Meath fans.
Well, I didn't realise Kerry wouldn't have any players on the pitch.
Well,
half the team wouldn't be playing. But anyway, okay.
All they had to do was listen to Paddy Andrews' Tailteann Cup predictions. They hear the prediction of the weekend. Wicklow to beat Westmeath. Now, Paddy, I want to ask you, because I pushed you on it at the time. I asked you why you went for Wicklow. Was it because the fact that Wicklow had beaten Westmeath in the Leinster Championship the year beforehand in Ockram? Was that one of the reasons?
Tommy, unlike you, I do my research. I study the Tailteann Cup. I study the teams. I watch a lot of Tailteann Cup teams play. Unlike you, and I come on, give you the brief before we go on air, and you steal my information and pass it off the road. I knew Wicklow would win that match. Knew it, 100%. I knew Kildare would pip Offaly in a very tight game as well. So the Tailteann Cup, I'm the specialist on that. That's my gig, Tommy. So no surprises from me. Shame on you for implying that I'm not a Tailteann Cup expert.
Hold on a second. I'd never implied that. My job is to make you two boys look good, and I think I've done a pretty good job at that for the last couple of years. So let's just keep that rolling.
Tommy,
But
your analysis is pure emotional then, like, because if anyone wins, they're All Ireland champions within fucking 2 years. I'm expecting Wicklow to be in the top 5 of your
Wicklow and or the Rossies. It's 50-50 for Sam Maguire next year. But no, the Wicklow win against Westmeath was slam dunk in Ockram. Just seen it a mile off. That's what you call analysis.
Well, listen,
Savage
kudos
win, to be fair,
to McConville and his boys, because the manner in which they came back from being 8 points down in the second half, the score at the end from Dean Healy, who was in DCU just, I think, a year ahead of me. The last link to Mick O'Dwyer, I actually didn't realise, I thought it was Colin O'Connor. Pat Nolan had done the piece in the Mirror last year. The last link to Mick O'Dwyer, which goes all the way back to, I think, the 40s. Dean Healy is actually the last one. So Healy, I was speaking to Oisin Langan, who's covered a lot of Wicklow games over the last couple of years. Healy wanted to retire, or was thinking of retire a couple of years ago. And it was actually his partner that said, wouldn't it be lovely for your kids to remember you playing for Wicklow, given all you've given over the last couple of years? And there were scenes at the end of Dean Healy holding his kids on the field after that massive win, kicking that last point. So fair play to him. And now they have a game in Crow Park against Limerick in the Tailteann Cup semi-finals.
Hey,
Fermanagh facing
Kildare. Fancy that as well. You would say the other semi-final is probably the two favourites. So Wicklow, chance. They got a chance.
Great story. James, I'm going to pick you up, right? Because your Twitter account is inactive 99% of the time, apart from when you're trying to give me a bit of grief. You're at 38 likes and counting for your Tommy Rooney kiss the deck comment.
38.
On an off the ball tweet this morning, which I want to say, like, kind of missed the point of what I was saying. I was talking about the young lads in the Meath and Monaghan team at the minute. Fellas like Louis Kelly and Stephen Mooney on a Monaghan side of things. Louis Kelly comes off the bench and does an unbelievable job in Oran Murdoch in that game. And then on the Meath side of things, Rory Kinsley, who's dynamite. Sean Rafferty, who's broken in this year. Sean Coffey. Connor Duke, nominated for Footballer of the Week this week.
5 points, Tate.
Yeah, I was just talking, Paddy, I suppose, about the potential of these lads and how it's limitless in terms of where they can go, right? And that might seem like a fairly flippant comment to throw out there. But these are lads that I'm looking at who have a little bit of success at underage level, right? They clearly want to play inter-county football, and they're made for it. They're bred for it. They have the S&C work done. I think they can only get better, and I think with the right management teams around them, I think they're going to flourish under the new rules. And that's sort of what I was saying, James. I wasn't saying that Meath and Monaghan were going to win Sam this year. I was saying that the players can really build on what they've got around them this year. I don't know whether you agree with that or not, but yeah.
Okay.
Was that a question? Or what are you doing?
What do you want me to do with that?
But I thought I needed
What are we-
This is just you trying to clarify what you said already this morning.
Yeah, but you weren't happy with it.
I was
You weren't
delighted with
happy
it.
a lot
I
of
was
things.
delighted with it. I'm delighted with it because you're giving the kiss of death to so many teams at the moment that eventually it's only going to be Kerry who can possibly win. Because they're the one team we won't give it to.
The last thing you should do is clarify yourself, isn't it?
Yes, I think so. Absolutely.
Yeah. So what about the lack of respect shown by
Is
Kerry
Meath
to Meath at the weekend?
beating Kerry
I don't-
is the result of the weekend, I would say. Is it?
Yeah, we're seven.
Have to
17
say
minutes
that's
into
that's the big surprise result of the weekend.
It's
The
maybe a
manner of that
surprise.
victory.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. To be honest, it did send shockwaves through Kerry. I would say. I think that Kerry could easily make the case that they had injuries to Diarmuid O'Connor, Shawnee Shea, Paddy Clifford, Paul Gainey, but Meath had plenty injuries themselves, and Meath showed up and were awesome. And Kerry just did not perform at all. I actually said it on the pod last week. They were going to struggle maybe aerially because they have injuries there and have to shuffle people around in those positions. And Meath dominated there on the break, especially. And Kerry struggled. And like that does put a spanner in the works for Kerry's season because obviously they've lost the luxury of the 2-week break. They're going into home game against Cavan, and now they're rushing fellas back from injury. So, I mean, you'd have to say fair play to Meath, but it doesn't do Kerry any favours losing that game. So it'd be interesting to see who they actually almost risk against Cavan, because I know that Jack won't be.
It's a great draw,
that
don't
game
you
lightly.
think?
It's a decent draw in terms of.
It's a
getting through.
phenomenal draw.
But once you're at home, you're happy. But I'm saying he's not going to take he has to play Diarmuid O'Connor now if he's any bit fit. He has to play Shawnee, and he has to play Paddy Clifford. And then if you do happen to come away from that game with a win, which you should, you're into a quarterfinal against Armagh the following week. So they've lost a bit of control over the season. Is my point.
How much did the? Because I know poor Kerry have a lot of injuries. How much did the injuries have an impact at the weekend on Kerry? Poor Kerry.
I don't appreciate.
There was an undertone, a sinister undercurrent to that question.
There is.
Give us the list there.
A
Who
raised
are you
eyebrow.
Who are you listening to? Give us the list.
He's come with you,
I already
Jimmy.
listened.
Imagine, this is what he's like if Meath actually get good. This is what
just
he'll
give-
be
just
like on
remind
the
me.
show.
Just remind me.
Unbearable. Like.
If you were
Do you know-
listening to me 30 seconds ago, I listed them out.
Okay, right. Yeah.
What?
Do you want to give it again though, just to remind people, just so people know? Like.
I said that Meath also had injuries and played very well.
But I would argue, just for argument's sake,
God. Is this
He's
because it's
stitching you
8
up,
o'clock in the evening, or is it because Meath won? I'm
he's
not
stitching
sure.
you
It's
up.
like a combo of the two.
just bar like Paddy Clifford, right? I would argue, because we know how important Paddy is to how Kerry play. I would argue that Meath's injuries were more significant.
Fucking Sean O'Shea and Diarmuid O'Connor. Like.
No, but to Meath, Paddy. I don't know.
Yeah,
Look,
maybe
listen,
so.
I'll let you dismiss me in a second. Like
Dismiss
But hang
Listen,
on, Tommy. I think you've
Look at
you've
this.
picked me up wrong.
He's
I am
on the,
not.
he's
I
on
am
the
not
highest of
making.
horses here. Like.
He is.
No, I'm not
I
saying
am
that,
not
but I'm just
making an
saying-
excuse for Kerry losing, saying it was down to the injuries. If I'm saying
understand
that,
that.
I said it could be argued that was the case, but also Meath had the injuries as well.
For sure.
And showed
And I'm
up
gonna ask
and
you-
deservedly won the game.
I'm going to ask you about the softness that is apparent in Kerry's setup at the moment. I'm going to ask you about that. But
Oh, yeah.
just to make the point,
This is
Kerry
great stuff.
narrative
This is great
as
stuff.
per.
just to make
That
the
Meath
point.
jersey I had upstairs is going in the bin.
Good.
Go on
good.
now.
Because I will not rest until we're hated by the country again.
Look, he's
That means we're
morphed
back
into
in the good
fucking
place.
Mick Lyons at the corner there. Now. Look at him, like.
Well,
He's like
I just
fucking
wanna say-
Jerry McAtee's come on the pod here to host
and
tonight.
make the point here, right? Because look, it'll do well for Kerry to realise that meeting Cavan this weekend. there was a softness about Kerry at the weekend. There was a softness about the manner in which they approached that game, the manner in which they sauntered up the road to Tullamore. And I know it was a long journey for Kerry this week. I know that. But I wasn't sure whether Meath would have, I suppose, the conviction to take down both Dublin and Kerry in the same season. And I just wonder why you think that was. Why have Meath been able to beat Dublin and Kerry in the same season?
I mean, we said it a couple of weeks before when they obviously had the issues with the coaches and they left, and the panel would have been left there, hands wide open saying, what's going on? Where are we going to go from here? And the fact that they have been able to pull together as a group and beat the Dubs convincingly and beat Kerry convincingly shows so much character in that dressing room and so much guts, and I couldn't give them enough credit. And I agree with you. Kerry probably did go up there a little bit lax, maybe. They could have done that. Now, that again, that's not an excuse for jumping it. They could have gone up there. But I mean, Meath deservedly won the game. Like, their 2-point shooting was outstanding. Their accuracy, their legs, their engines, their aerial ability, everything was on point. And Kerry weren't there. And it puts a few question marks over Kerry's panel. If they're missing 4 or 5 fellas, do we have the depth that the top teams have? There's going to be question marks over that, which is fair.
They don't.
So,
Kerry don't have that depth.
Yeah, they don't at the moment. So I think that's where Kerry are at. But I still think the reason I would give Kerry every chance in the world against most teams is because Kerry can kick the ball. If you looked at Jim McGuinness's interview after the game, right, and Donegal went to the well against Mayo, Jim McGuinness said, look at that Mayo team. They have so much athleticism and so much strength and power, or something along those lines, or so much conditioning. And that's why it was so tight. You can kick around conditioning. You can kick around the gym. Like, everything doesn't come back to how strong you are, how fast you are, or how big you are. Like, you can play football around all those attributes. They're secondary attributes. The primary thing in football is catching, and the second one is kicking. If you can do them, you are on a winner. Then down the list is the conditioning. And that's why I think that at times Donegal don't kick around that. And if a team has it on them conditioning wise or strength wise, they might not be able to outplay them. So Kerry might not have it or might not have the depth. But if they can get their kicking game right against teams, they can expose them.
Jimmy, the 3 best kickers are injured at the weekend. We don't know what the story is, when they're going to be back or not. There's no luxury of time for players to come back. Kerry, without those 3 guys, the depth isn't there. That's the reality. There's no point down to the road that if those guys are missing, Kerry are not going anywhere. And the worry for them going forward is that performance against Meath. Even if you're missing players like that, is a team that wins the All-Ireland champions don't put on a performance like that. Like, that is the major worry for them going forward. They've got the best draw they could have got. Cavan or not, Cavan shouldn't be in this stage of championship. So they win that, but quarter final in Croke Park a week later. They need those 3 guys back, whether they're available or not. But they also, Tommy's kind of stitching you up a bit there, but that is a bit of a narrative. Like, that dog, that fight, that edge in Kerry, we're just not seeing it. We're not seeing it. And Saturday's result could go 2 ways. It could be a kick in the backside, and lots of teams are getting these kicks in the backside, and how they respond to it. They've got one of the most experienced managers in the country. They still have quality in that team, and guys, nearly all of them were there when they won the All-Ireland a couple of years ago. But just red lights for me. A performance like that, yeah, they're missing players. It was just so far off winning an All-Ireland, that level of performance.
But I think if you took 4
big
fellas,
question marks over. I know, I get that. And they're the 3 lads, Sean O'Shea, Paddy, Clifford, Dermot O'Connor. They're so key to what you're saying. That style of play. They're the best kick passers. They're the supply line into David Clifford. I get that, but it's just there's 12 other guys on the pitch.
Yeah,
what are they doing?
Definitely exposed.
What are they doing?
Yeah. Do you know what as well? It says. Do you know with some teams, I think Kerry play more kind of off the cuff at times and maybe less rigid. Do you know if you've injuries at times, sometimes I think the more coach teams or the more rigid teams, you can kind of fit fellas in a bit easier, and they'll play to the system and do the right thing and give a 7.5 or an 8 out of 10 performance. Whereas I don't think the Kerry have that level of structure. Like even if you look at Armagh's panel and Armagh's team, like they could take any 1 or 2 or 3 out and put 2 or 3 in.
We're not as reliant on people.
They're not as reliant. They play more to a system and they play more structured plays, and it's less
the base level. The base level of their second tier players is so high. Can I double down? Can I double down on my softness point, right? Because the exact same softness and lack of championship paranoia was totally evident in Dublin in their defeat to Meath in April, right? And I just want to say that watching them up close in the Derry game, obviously it feeds into the Kerry conversation about getting your best players in the field. That's such a basic principle of Gaelic football or sport. And just to mention them, Ronan Jones, Matthew Costello and James Conlon were the 3 Meath players I was talking about. They're as important to Meath as the Kerry lads are to Kerry. But the Dubs obviously managed to get back John Small, who I saw him in the second half playing the best second half I've seen him play for Dublin in a long time. They had Conor O'Callaghan back in the field. Con to me looked like he was at 70%. There was at one stage in the first half where he's one-on-one inside of Brendan Rodgers and Scully is looking for him. I think it's Scully on the ball or maybe it's Howard. They're looking to play it one-on-one inside and Con essentially just says, no, like don't give me that ball one-on-one. But Con was still able to get points off both throw-ins, kick points late on off his right and off his left. And the difference that he made to Dublin, getting their best players on the field, was huge. But they also played with an aggression and a dog. So
but
that can come.
They were still, they weren't qualified. I mean, Dublin still had to get a result.
They
still had to get a result.
They needed to get a result for sure, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, there's very different. No, I'm not saying you should go into a game with a bad attitude ever. Of course, I'm not saying that before you jump on that. What I'm saying is, obviously, when you're playing for your life, it's easier to get to that level. And it might be a case of leadership on that Kerry team or whatever. They didn't get to that level. Fine, you can ask those questions. But when you are playing for your life, I think you're going to get that level easier. So we won't see a true Kerry until arguably this weekend, and then again in the Armagh game. If they are to get through,
will you see it this weekend?
They won't need it this weekend.
I don't know. I don't know. It depends who's playing.
That's the point they make it, Jimmy, for you with Kerry, is that the reaction to that match, Dublin were diabolical against Meath in the Leinster Championship, and whatever way they dressed it up, they thought they were going to win that game comfortably, and they were caught. They were way off it, and we see the response they gave, very positive from Con, Kieran Kilkenny. They were all playing against Meath. Dublin didn't have injuries against Meath. They were just not at the races, and that was their kick in the hole. And they came back and they went over to Salt Hill and they beat Galway. They didn't perform against Armagh, and they came back with a massive performance to beat Derry. Kerry, that's the situation there and now. What is the response from that team? They, like I say, it's a good draw, they'll get through, but if they play Armagh in all-round quarter-final, it's...
And that is what the draw will be.
It has to be an unbelievable turnaround from what we've seen. But that's, you're banking on Jack O'Connor's experience, Kerry leadership, the likes of David Clifford, Tyg Morley, Joe O'Connor, we're talking about him stepping into a leadership position. All these guys, Shane Ryan, that experience that they could come and deliver a performance and pull something out of the bag. But you would have to say, I don't know if I'd be putting my house on that.
Yeah,
that's not trying to be a bollocks about things with Kerry. It's just I thought Saturday was just the latest kind of warning signs around there, but Saturday was just really bad.
But I think there's been blind faith with Kerry as well at times in terms of
because
Kerry,
they're Kerry, David Clifford's there and all that stuff.
Favorites, yeah. But I don't think that they've got to those levels at all this year. Like even the last league game before the final, they could have ended up in a relegation battle. So the league was that tight that they ended up going on to the league final and winning it, and it might have just kind of covered over a few things. Then you're going into a Munster Championship, which is, let's face it, it's a waste of time. Like at least 30% of the games are a waste of time. So
But it has been.
But tell me, on your point, right? If we move on from Kerry, just talk about Kerry fucking all night. Like.
Yeah, no, I
does this weekend? This is what I'm going to say about Meath. Like, does this weekend show? Like, we're talking about this being the most open championship ever. There's nothing between the teams. Really, like, are we at the stage where we think could Monaghan, could Meath win the All Ireland? Is that what we're trying to get at here? If Dublin and Kerry are so shit, the traditional powerhouses, if Donegal are seemingly on their last legs, if Mayo could have taken them out, Galway, we just don't know where they're at. Like, what do we think is coming in this championship?
Yeah, well, listen, I've consistently said Meath weren't ready to win the Leinster Championship, and I believe there was obviously a lack of respect, but I don't blame Kerry or Dublin for that. Like, Kerry bet Meath by 2-18 to 9 points last year. Meath roll over and let Kerry tickle their bellies in the All-Ireland Round-Robin Series last year.
But I don't think as a Meath supporter you even want to win anything. You just want to be smug after a win like this. You
That's
just
want
to
throw.
You just want to throw a bit of shade.
Fairly smug, Tommy, but that's okay.
I'm not being smug here. I'm not being smug. I'm trying to make the point that the level that this group have got to, the level they've got to this year compared to last year, 3-19 to 12 against the Dubs last year. Like, the level they've managed to get themselves to. And James, you were making the point about grabbing it by the scruff of the neck when the two coaches walked out. And I have it on very good authority that a couple of fellas from left field were the ones in the dressing room that spoke about what it meant to play for Meath and to get this going, that it was their group.
That's
and
class.
It actually surprised a few people that it was a couple of the younger lads. Like, there's a hell of a young generation there that have now given themselves an unbelievable chance. And, like, they're becoming heroes to the young people of Meath. And it's the exact same thing in Monaghan. Paddy, I'm not going to sit here and say that Meath or Monaghan are going to win in All-Ireland.
I'm not saying that tongue in cheek, but like this championship was so open. Like, every single team is flat, with the possible exception, the one where you're confidently saying those guys are doing it is Armagh.
Yeah, and
everyone else has question marks.
If Down had put themselves into the position of being in an All-Ireland quarter-final this weekend, I am convinced Down are going to cause Galway serious bother. And I'm convinced that if Down
red
get
flags
through
with Galway as well, like big style. I know they got out of that the weekend. Like,
yeah, we might talk about that after
feeling
the break.
it with them. They're just not playing well. I know a bit of Shane Walsh magic gets them over, but how reliable is that consistently? It's just
I don't know. I watched back the Galway game today.
Gauntlet there, like.
I watched back that game today. I thought there was things that I liked. There was things I liked that I saw in that game. I still think Galway could save themselves if they I still think Galway can do something, lads.
Good draw.
I saw Daniel Flaherty.
Down are good, but like it could have been Flaherty or Ballybuffet. That would have been box office, though, I have to say. I was hoping for one of those games to come out of the hat today.
Did we get word on Comer? What's the story with him?
No, it sounds like it's another couple of weeks though. But I don't think it's fatal on Galway. Would you think it's fatal on Galway, James?
At half time, I was like, my God, what is going on up there? For what they have on paper, the dreaded paper, to churn that out in a must-win game against an Armagh team that didn't need to win, didn't need to play with that fire that I spoke about, and rested fellas, to be that far down at half time. But then it spun on its head then, because whatever was said at half time, Joyce must have given them the biggest rollicking of their lives, because they came out straight away and went for it. And as you said, in Walsh, they have a player that you would watch every day of the week and twice on Sunday. The quality he has, if he's on it and he's tuned in mentally, he is that X Factor player that could get them over the line in the quarterfinal, semi-final, or final. So I wouldn't rule him out. But at half time, I was thinking every bad thing you could think about a team.
The start of their second half, Paddy, was pretty exceptional. Like, or James, if you want to jump in here as well. Like, Cook gets an early point. They steal a Rafferty kick out. We might come back to him in a minute. He was outrageous. Finnerty, I thought, showed unbelievable leadership in that game. Young Matthew Thompson kept trying to make something happen. They have fellas on the team that can do that. And I thought Sean Fitzgerald made a big difference in defence as well. Like, McDade gets a point. They get the goal from Maher, who comes through for his first championship goal. There's plenty of quality there. Like, they are coming up against really strong opposition.
Never in question, Tommy. Galway's quality is like, no way is that in question.
No, I know that, right? But maybe we're judging Galway, like, you know, off a defeat to Dublin, right? a draw with Derry,
They were shit in
and
that
now
Dublin game, though.
a win against Armagh, but at one point win against Mayo. Like, that's all Division 1 opposition here that we're judging them against.
The thing is that Armagh kicked 27 points the weekend at their ease in a game they didn't have to win. They were through top of the group anyway. I mean, you think that if Galway were going into a do or die game there, that every score they gave up would be hard earned, and it wasn't. That's the little bit. You can say all about the quality and this or that. You have to be so hard to beat to let Armagh come through for 27. 27 in do or die games. It's a lot, you know.
That's the
Chapter
one
2.0.
caveat I feel, as good a game as Monaghan and Down was, and some amazing scores. It was like it was brilliant entertainment, incredible to watch, but it was just like basketball, like
There was a bit of that.
which was great to see. But you're thinking again, winning the whole thing, you would worry: is there enough kind of being hard to play against there? Like, as good as that was on Sunday, I don't know. The other thing, lads,
Monaghan Down, or are you talking about our goal?
no, Monaghan Down, like that.
Yeah.
Just being, I know the rules have changed. We're seeing more scores. It's more exciting, but you do feel like the All-Ireland champions, whoever it is going to be, will have that bit of steel and that bit of structure. Be hard to break down as well, even with the new rules and the new structure. You think it's just a shootout all the way through?
I just think
the All-Ireland final has got to be 30 points to 28, maybe.
I think so.
Yeah,
I
maybe.
think we've got carnage. Honestly, I think we've got utter carnage ahead of us. Like Down, I was so impressed with Down at the weekend. I know the way, like,
some of the scores were really high quality, but then defensively, it was like, it just doesn't look right. Like, man, the goals they scored and the couple of misses, it's like 5-on-1. You're like, what is happening here? Like, how is this happening?
It was kamikaze stuff at times, wasn't it?
Do you know what, lads? I had a conversation with a listener in the pod and Yuri after the game. And we're just chatting about just the mayhem of the championship and then what to expect the following day and what was going to happen. Is it like the championship is now a league, really, like week on week, relentless, so attritional. All the coaches are talking about, and we're making sweeping statements every week on here on the back of like a team loses a match and it's like they are fucked. But it's like it's the championship. Still doesn't feel like it's got going yet. Like, a team can hit momentum when they get to Croke Park in 7 days' time. And we're talking about Meath or Legends now. We could go and play whoever they get and lose by 15 points. It feels like we're still judging the championship off the old days, like, where it's like there's 6 championship matches, and there's 3 weeks or a month between games, and you have to win every game. You don't. You can play shit and still be in it. And it's like, are we overreacting to certain games? Like, I don't know. It's just this is
you boys think I overreact. I actually will counter that.
No,
we have been saying for a long time.
This is not at you. This is just the whole GA. We are. There's games every week. There's so many matches, and you read all the papers and talk to supporters, and we're on this show every week, and it's like they're fucked, and then they're back, and these are favourites, and it's like the following week. We say it like Tyrone winning Ballybuffet the following week. It's like a 1 out of 10 performance against Mayo. Then they go, Mayo lose the Cavan car crash stuff. It's actually cost them. They go and absolutely annihilate Tyrone up at Healy Park. The Dubs go and win at Salt Hill and they get spanked by Armagh. It's like the peaks and troughs across the whole thing. It's just so. We're still judging teams of the old system. If you lose a championship match, like, they're finished. Forget about them. Like,
so do you reckon it's going to be Bob McIntyre and JJ Spawn in the last weekend?
And do you know what? That was shit. Like, it was the fucking worst golf tournament ever. I turned it off. It's like, I don't know any of these guys. I don't want to watch them. Give me the big dog.
I enjoyed it. It made me feel a bit
this
better.
This is no. But it's just I don't know. Like, we get this weekend and then we get to the quarters. Like, it just changes so fast, so fast.
There'll be a different feeling Croke Park as well.
The structure's a mess. Still, I think it's
better,
but it's still a mess.
But it's exciting, Tommy. It's exciting, man.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Look, the provincial championships
it could be so much better.
Our waste time.
Do you know? Season 2 squeeze. It has to be. Anyways, we'll do it again.
Do you know?
Will Loud get ending up in Ballybuffet?
I want to do that after the break. I want to do all that after the break. So James, go in there before I take a break.
No, I was only going to say about the Dubs. I think that if you look at some of the ingredients that I think are going to be pivotal on their own kick-out, Cluxton has O'Coffig Byrne and he has Howard. I think
There
that,
was about 5 in a row, Jimmy. He hit the Howard when the pressure was on. It was like the whole stadium knows he's looking for Howard, and he still put it out. It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
But they fucking beat us in an All-Ireland final as well on Howard and Cluxton. So like the fact
play
that they
it again,
have Howard,
baby.
right,
Play it again,
and they have O'Coffig Byrne. Other teams don't necessarily have their own kick-out nailed down yet. Also, if you think about Dublin in certain games, Kilkenny's good over his head. Bloody comes out and catches a few balls. So they're good on the kickouts. Also, Dublin have kicking the ball down to a tee. We mentioned Scully. Every time Scully gets the ball, Scully gives a lovely pass into the full forward line. Now, I don't know what the coaching is for teams based on the half forward line, but the primary role for me nearly is for the half forward line to feed the full forward line or have some sort of a relationship built there. Obviously, you're under breaks and you're defending as well. But Scully, every pass he gets, he looks up and it's gone into the corner within a second. He could easily grab the ball and decide to solo the ball in and hand pass it into a fella's chest. And it looks great. Oh, Scully's on the ball all the time. No, he doesn't. He does the right thing for the team. He gets it, he turns, he kicks it, and no one even notices it. So I think that Dublin have those attributes. They can kick the ball, they can kick around teams like they did against Armagh, and they're good on the kickouts. And that's why I think that they're going to be a serious threat.
Paddy, Scully stood out to me as well at the weekend. Is it fair to say he struggled for form or maybe a bit of something over the last
a bit of love, I think he was short.
But James, I think the new rules suit him down to the ground. Like, Paddy, he must have been a dream to play with.
He's always been a brilliant kick passer. Like, he always has that.
He didn't always kick it.
There's certain players, Jimmy, you'll notice. You're playing the full forward line, I'm wasting my time here making a run because this ain't coming in. And then there's players like Scully, we had it with Fenton as well, Philly McMahon for us. If they're on the ball, they're scanning out to in. They're looking, their first protocol is how far can I kick this ball? And if that's not on, I'll work my way back. Whereas, broadly, 85% of players, when they get the ball, the first thing is beside them. Let's keep possession. Let's mind the ball, Jimmy's favourite phase, and they make a hand pass and they don't give the ball away. And those type of players, it's amazing. Scully stands out so much because he's doing what you would say is the most obvious fucking thing for someone in the half forward line to do, particularly when you got Conor O'Callaghan inside is, can I kick this ball inside? That is the most dangerous thing. That's what the opposition do not want me to do. They want me to hand pass the ball 5 yards to someone beside me. And it stood out at the weekend. It stands out in Croke Park. That's why it's an advantage for Dublin playing there. They play Cork this weekend. And Scully, does he feel the love or whatever? They don't have the rules made it a bit more obvious that there's more space to kick it into. Yeah. Just when he was out of the team, he wasn't playing that well. So the players have that. The players are not struggling, a bit of a knock or a niggle or just not at top form. Dublin could play someone else, but I think he is pivotal for what Dublin are trying to do. I absolutely love it because you're right, Con was kind of cruising through the game and he scores 5 points for play. Do you know what I mean?
What do you reckon he was that percentage-wise?
I don't know. It didn't feel like it was his rampage at best. You were there very, very wet, tough, slippery conditions, skipping over the ground, it's not the same. And also, like a hamstring injury, Desi Farrell alluded to it after, it was kind of, should we start him or not? So he's not at 100%, but it was a game where that Kerry and around. Dublin had to win. And if Con wasn't playing in that game, Dublin probably would be out of the championship. You know what I mean? That's how well Derry performed and how tight that game was. So it's brilliant. The positive news, talking to Dublin supporters after the game, they've got through the game with no injuries. Lee Gannon is back. Old Merchant was back on the pitch. And
made a big difference.
And Smalley was back, getting back to what we know he can do and what he has been before. We came back, he's back a couple of weeks and he played that Meath game. He was just not ready for that type of game. So whatever about Khan, we all know how important he is, but defensively Dublin look a lot better by having Lee Gannon, John Small and Old Merchant back. Because I still think they're a bit light defensively, but it's a hell of a lot better than it was 6 weeks ago. So it was a good night there. But Scully, the way he plays, suits Con. And when shit was hitting the fan in that game, Dublin have Con, Kieran Kilkenny, Howard, guys to just know what to do, just chill, just relax, keep the ball, let's not fuck this up, not set do anything stupid. And that is invaluable as you start getting into these knockout games. And that's what Kerry are going to try and hang their hat on. That's what Galway and Pádraig Joyce is praying that his team can do when the push comes to shove. It's Paul Conroy, it's Shane Walsh, it's Matty Tierney, Donegal. You seen it yesterday when it was all on the line. Michael Murphy was head and shoulders the man. The man. And these players, they're the best players for a reason, but if they perform, there's so little between the teams. So little. And I've been pretty down on Dublin's chances of doing it here in terms of winning the All-Ireland. But if they've all those bodies on the pitch and they're looking around the championship, they've got a chance if those guys are all on the pitch because there's experience and just composure. Chill. Just chill. Yeah. Don't fucking do anything stupid. And that's what got them over the line against Derry.
Yeah, I think Armagh are the only side that have possibly earned any bit of confidence in them doing something or being the favourites.
Consistency. They've shown
they've
consistency.
They've got Kerry if Kerry could buy Cavan. Lads, I'm going to take a quick break on the foot pod and we're coming back down another 10 minutes or so on the draw and a few more bits on the weekend. You are, of course, listening to the Football Pod brought to you by AIB, proud sponsors of the Senior Football Championship. AIB are bringing us on the road one more time. We're going to be in Croke Park on Thursday, the 24th of July. A couple of people at the weekend getting giddy, asking me when tickets will be on sale. I think whispers are next Monday they'll be on sale. So snap them up quick. They've gone in record time the last 2 years. I think it was 12 minutes last year. It was maybe 14 years before.
It's sold out, team, without not even knowing who's in the final.
Yeah, that was the last 2 years. So keep your eyes out for that one. It'll be on the Football Pod Instagram where you'll probably hear word on that. And it's the Thursday night before the Sunday. No better way to build up to
big week. It's a big week.
And guests. We'll work on our guests as well from early, and we'll have some doozies lined up as always. Boys, we'll be back in a minute. You're very welcome back to the Football Pod with Paddy Andrews and James O'Donoghue. Our breaks can often lead to a bit of something. You boys aren't happy with me. What's wrong with you?
What do you mean? Are we saving it for All Ireland quarter final weekend? You see, my point that you can't just react like this every time Meath have a good win because you get too ahead of yourself.
I'm not getting ahead of anyone. I'm not doing anything like that.
You are.
I'm just highlighting a couple of things from the weekend.
Poor Kerry, you were saying. Then Softness, then injuries. All we want to do is analyse the game fairly, and you brought it down to a very a low level of just shade.
Did I let down the pod?
I'm looking forward, lads, to the Kerry Meath rematch. I will tune in, but I'm looking forward to that.
We won't get one in the All Ireland quarter final. We could get a Dublin Meath rematch.
I wasn't aware of this with the quarters, lads. Sorry. So whatever. Yeah. So the quarters are kind of pre-drawn as well.
No, but they won't do repeat fixtures.
Yeah, there's an element of it. So provincial finals and group stages is what they're trying to avoid, and it's different again for the semi-finals. There's another quirk to it.
So Dublin could play Meath because they only played the provincial semi-final.
I believe so. Yeah. So can I just ask you briefly? Any other footballers from the weekend stand out? Because there was so much talent on display. I thought Ethan Rafferty, there was a couple of kickouts that maybe went askew, but some of the moments from Rafferty again in goal.
Off the chart. He's the best of both, isn't he? He's a brilliant goalkeeper. Considering he's not actually a goalkeeper, he's got the skills, and then he's so good going forward as well. He's
some pace.
Has he taken over from? Everyone talks about Niall Morgan and Beggan. Rafferty's gone another level, hasn't he?
This year he has, since he's earned his place.
Rafferty, Patton, Beggan, and Morgan be probably the top four.
Beggan for the down goal was a bit disappointed. He makes a great save afterwards, but he just kind of gets caught coming out, never gets his feet right, and kind of sloppy with that. Matty Donnelly, lads. Tyrone scored 150 points against Cavan, but I thought Matty Donnelly was a bit of class there rolling back the years. And I must say, see the photos of Conor Meyler as
Conor
well.
Meyler. Yeah.
After the game.
Yeah.
I must say, I delighted for that. I love hearing a story like that. Tough couple of years. Jeez, I didn't realise that I thought he was retired. Genuinely. I was like, fuck.
Really?
And then, yeah, I didn't know the extent of the injury issues he had. We
What
spoke
was
about
the
on the show
injury?
before. Well, he was.
I think it was a few
he's
things over
seeing
23
specialists,
months.
yeah, a couple of things. Like,
Yeah.
2 years. Like, so to. We've had injuries, we've all had it. Never nice. One of the toughest things to deal with as a player, but to see someone like that get back on the pitch, very nice. Fair play to him, I have to say. So I thought that was a nice thing to see for Conor Meyler.
It was nice.
just
for him
30.
It was nice for him to show like the difficulties involved with a long-term injury and even the effect it can have on you as a person. Like, you felt that he really struggled with it, and to come back
For your family, Jimmy, as well, isn't it? Like, you would knock your missus at home or your man dad. It's like you're a fucking nightmare to deal with because you're just so down in the dumps, like, and to have it for 2 years, Jesus, it was it's tough, but it was lovely to see.
He did a piece with Jonathan Higgins for Off the Ball afterwards, and he was speaking to Radio 1 too. He said, I had 3 in total knee surgeries, 2 in the last 2 years. I had a lot of trouble with my Achilles, my groin, my hamstring, my hip, my foot. A lot of niggles along the way. The knee has been the big one though, and that was the one I probably wasn't sure will I ever get the chance to play again. He's only 30. Thankfully, I've good people around me who supported me, and I got that chance. Look, it was a special moment. It's been a long 2 years, a very rocky road that hasn't been straightforward. And there's a lot of setbacks along the way, and you do wonder, is it ever going to happen again? I doubt it myself at times, but the support network I had around me helped. So look, that was his mum and his dad that he embraced after the game.
Fair play.
Brilliant. And you can only imagine what rejuvenated Conor Meyler could bring. We obviously saw Kieran McGeary discover a bit of form. They'll be worried now about Michael McKernan going off injured early in that game. He's been absolutely unbelievable.
Pivotal,
yeah. So
they'll have Paddy
Shit,
Hart
what
come in,
about-
I suppose not the worst either, you know, in terms of
What
they're
about-
not losing too much.
Kieran Dowdy for Loud, some absolute sugar sprayed around that pitch there in Port East. There were some beautiful scores outside of the right. Pop a goal in there, why not? A little bit of class, enjoyed that.
pulling off the boots as well, the illuminate yellow boots.
I don't know if
Getting
I'm
away
mad
with
on them. I don't know if I'm mad on those boots, but look, he delivered.
What about
Anyone else?
Mulroy's finish for the goal?
Yeah,
Where he caught it with the right
Great
hand,
hands.
didn't catch it with the second hand and just buried it. I thought that was class. Nice bit of class. A lot of teams don't have that fellow with that much skill.
There was a couple of absolutely reckless 2-pointers at the weekend. I thought Pat Haverns in the first half with the outside of the right, it wasn't even in left foot territory. I thought Darren McMullins with the outside of the right as well. Rory Kinsella had one when the Kerry defence gave him about 38 yards to take it. Any other standout?
Another fucking dig.
I'm trying to toughen you up, James. You haven't played any Division 1 opposition so far.
The players this is just turning everyone against Meath. Do you know what the best 2-pointer of the weekend I thought was? Jack McCarron's.
McCarthy.
No, Jack McCarron's, where
he stopped.
He's fisted the pass on the edge of the arc, and his natural momentum would take him inside the arc. But he arranged his feet where he kind of did a little side shuffle and maybe even half a step backwards, and then threw an outside the left straight out of the bar. Oh, it was absolutely gorgeous.
Conor McCarthy got
gorgeous.
a spectacular one on his left peg as well in the first half.
Right off the back of Havertz. It was beautiful.
Oh,
the whip.
The whip was like he's after skying that 100 yards wide. The curls in. It was beautiful.
It's a great rule that we have. It's a great rule change to encourage long range kicking. We haven't seen these scores in a long time.
But I don't like the 50-meter brought up and then players bring it back outside the arc. No fancy.
We can talk about all that again. We'll do all that at the end of the season. But I just want to mention as well a block by Daniel O'Mahony as Roscommon chased a 2-pointer late in the game to win it. O'Mahony's block for Cork saved their season, extended their season, and earned them.
Hey, that's a nice battle on Saturday. Daniel O'Mahony, Khan. You have to imagine he's going to go man to man with Khan. That'll be a right fucking ding dong there.
What about Reap's save from McBurty? McBurty will not want to see that again. I know it was a leg block. It was a penalty. It was a penalty.
It's McBurty. Great.
He didn't deserve a penalty, but
why does that happen? Why does he get blocked?
Because he probably goes at it with the left leg. If he rifles out with the right,
he second guesses himself.
He thought about fisting the ball over the bar.
Yeah.
Do you reckon?
Yeah. He's not confident.
He's been infected by the hand pass over the bar. Disease.
If McBurty's in top form there, he's not even taking it bang. volley, roof for the net. He's like, will I do this? Will I do that? Will I? And he tries to, he's not even taking it on his right foot. He's like, I'm going to try and make totally sure this, take an extra bit of time, and fucks it up. Like, it's like really fair play till he gets back, but McBrearty that was just screaming out. He's a player who's not confident.
Yeah.
He looked, I don't know about that. He looked like he wasn't happy with himself after the game on the steps of the dressing room in the Hide.
Why would you be?
He was
glaring into nothingness.
What about Jack McCarron plucking it straight off the ground for the goal? And the umpire, the umpire was 2 feet away.
Hey,
he was
Jimmy,
literally
the umpires now. The umpires have become for you. Like you have previous.
He was in a half squat. The umpire staring directly at it, and he lets it away with it.
Did you see the super slow mo version of the replay?
It was off the ground.
It's off the ground.
It was off the ground.
Yeah, it probably was, wasn't it?
No, as soon as it happened, we're like, oh, off the ground. And McCarron looks around straight away. Do you know that fear of fuck?
Guilt.
Looks around and the ref gives it.
Got away with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think McCarthy was behind them. He could have even, there was 2 or 3 man and lads lining up to finish it.
But McCarthy missed an absolute sitter then a couple of minutes later.
What about Finnerty's was it Finnerty's hop dummy for his goal? Did he take a hop dummy coming in? There was a couple of lovely hop dummies at the weekend lining up keepers.
Yeah.
We've seen a lot more of that. It's great to see it.
Rob Finnerty, totally confident, top of his game, gone to another level after his All-Star. That's a guy who's confident, finished. McBrearty, other end of the spectrum, looking for that little bit of spark. That was the difference you could see. You don't think about these things. You're confident, just do it. Yeah. No waiting rooms, no mess.
Jim McGuinness's comments after the game caught a bit of fire. They've gone around the world and back. How would you feel in a
Who was out to get him?
They
names, Jim. The GAA are coming from. That's what he's saying.
Well, he said I think it was the CCCC that he was unhappy with, and he said it wouldn't have happened. It only happened because it's us.
Only happened to us. So are the GAA out to get Donegal? Is that true?
I was in the press scrum for it, and you know he was on a roll. You know, he was on a roll, and he was making sure his message got out there. I believe, and I'd imagine the message was to galvanise the Donegal people. There's a bit of a siege mentality there with the dressing room too. You know, after a win, there weren't too many questions afterwards about the performance of Donegal. So, would you bother with that as players in the dressing room? Would that have any impact?
Would not care. I couldn't care less about it.
Surprising because, like, of all the counties, like the Donegal supporters are all in on this team. They don't need. He doesn't need to kind of get them on side. He doesn't need to get buy-in from the players. They have drank the Kool-Aid. Like Donegal is one of the most aligned supporters, county board, manager, players. They're all in. So to dip into the old coaching manual, chapter 2, siege mentality, I thought was like, fucking hell, like this. Okay, fair enough. The GAA are out to get us.
But what's the benefit of even saying it? What's going to happen over the next couple of weeks that's going to be changed? I don't know.
Well, they're at home this weekend. They're in Ballyface.
They have an extra
4 o'clock. They have an extra
then they're at Croke Park if they win.
Because they didn't win, like.
Yeah. They're playing Loud. I think Loud might struggle to get a hotel this weekend in Donegal. The Donegal Rally is on, I believe. So that'll be a
great
tough
weekend
trip up
by
the
all
road.
accounts.
I can imagine. You have it in Clarny yourselves, don't
We
you?
do.
Yeah. Are you looking forward to welcoming down a legion of Cavan fans to Killarney?
Yeah, we are.
You going to roll out the red carpet?
We've had a couple of home games this year. Clare, Roscommon and now Cavan. There were some years where Killarney saw no game. Do you know, so...
Yeah.
None of them are classics, Jimmy.
No, they're not. To be fair, they're not the glamorized that we were hoping for. Because we were actually we were hoping for
Galway,
Dublin.
Kerry would have been nice.
Yeah, we were hoping for Cork, Dublin and Galway.
Joycer was talking about Galway straight after the game, Galway facing Kerry. Were you hoping for maybe a game like that in Killarney?
To be honest, I'm afraid to answer that question, Tommy, because you'll spin it in such a way that...
I can't spin anything. I would never spin anything.
I would have liked to have seen a Galway, Kerry, Killarney would have been beautiful, though. Yeah, I have to say.
It would
Galway, Donegal, and Ballybuffet would have been magic as well. Like.
I think that
it's an underwhelming draw, lads.
It is.
It is. You know, I can't sit here and go, I'm buzzing for that one. Like,
but the quarterfinals, if the favourites win, the quarterfinals will be sensational. From the quarterfinals on, it'll be top of the pops, as you say. It'll be top
Top of the
quality.
pops.
I
let's
wouldn't
not
say.
get too
I
far ahead
don't.
of
I'd say
To answer your question, Tom, I don't think the Kerry were looking for Galway. No, absolutely
No.
not.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
like Galway are still really strong, and Kerry look like they're looking to find something. So I think that they were happy to avoid Galway. Definitely.
Saw a line at the weekend that Limerick have made history. The Limerick footballers are playing in Croke Park the first time twice
Sunday.
in one season. They obviously won the Division 4 final against Wexford. They put up a huge score against them at the weekend, 421 to 219 at the Tailteann Cup semi-final. We mentioned Wicklow's 218 to 217 win against
My
Westmeath
boys.
and how brilliant it was. Paddy's boys, they're up against Limerick. We'll talk
They're
about
gonna
that on
win.
our
They're going to
members
win that
pod.
one as well.
Yeah, well, you can tell us about it on our members pod. And
I
then we've
will.
got
I'll do a deep dive on that on Wednesday show.
Kildare up against Fermanagh as well on...
What about my boys Kildare? Got that one right as well, T. That little bit of experience. I just said it. Awfully young team. Kildare get the
Awfully
job
beat
done
them
and do
twice this year.
Yeah.
yeah, nobody
Thought
beats
they had their
Kildare 3
number.
times in the season.
They had Paddy's backing. So Kerry Cavan, Killarney, Saturday, 3:30 p.m.
What's
Dublin,
that on?
Cork.
Where could you see that if you're not in Killarney?
I'll go through that in a second. Dublin, Cork, Croke Park,
Dodgy box.
Saturday, 6:15 p.m. Down Galway.
Fucking revenue. Listen to this. James has done it. His new address, Newcastle West, County Limerick. Get over there. Get his dodgy box.
He's getting further. He's getting further.
Just on the
That
border
is
of
a
Abbeyfield. Abbeyfield, between Abbeyfield and Newcastle West.
Very corner
James
of my garden
O'Donoghue
touches there.
is scamming the fucking GA. Like, you're a disgrace.
He's getting further and further from the
I
field of
have
green.
a
every
GA
day.
Plus account. I'll have you know.
Yeah,
If you pay
you
for
love
it, you're taking money out of my
No,
pocket.
I have a 79. I think
I have
it's
two young
79 euros.
kids to feed. I have two young children to feed.
Sunday, 1:45 p.m. Down v Galway, Park Esler, Donegal hosting Loud in Ballyface Sunday 4 o'clock. And Paddy, yes, they are all on GA Plus. GA Plus have taken all the games this weekend
That's
in the
unreal,
All Ireland
isn't
Football
it? Isn't that class? Like?
Series.
So
RT are
if
showing the
GA
two
Plus
Tailteann-
weren't there, like what would people do?
RT are showing the two Tailteann Cup semi-finals on Sunday, and then they got the hurling quarter-finals as well on Saturday. A double header in Croke Park and in
Show
Galway.
more fucking
on the Saturday.
the hurling
Yeah,
thing.
but-
Jesus Christ! Like.
What are you doing this weekend, Paddy? What games are you doing?
I'm doing Saturday. I'm in Croker. So we
Oh.
Dublin, Cork,
Kerry,
and we were
Cavan.
also doing Kerry Cavan from Croker, but I'll probably be watching Dublin, Limerick, and the hurling.
Oh, it's in Croke Park. It's in Croke Park.
Double
Okay.
header on Saturday, Croker. Yeah.
And what way do you think the Dublin Limerick hurling game will go?
Well, let me think. Come back to that one.
Okay, we might do that in our members pod.
I'll do that
On
and
Wednesday.
a deep dive on Wicklow on Wednesday show.
James, did I hijack this pod a little bit? Did I come in with the two elbows out?
Tommy, look, if that's the way you operate after one win, then
It's
it's
two,
good.
by the way,
It's
we've
good
beaten
that we
Kerry-
find
Kerry
it
and
out
Dublin.
on year 4 of the pod. Me to finally had a good win that we can talk about, and you come out of your shell a bit.
Okay. It wasn't even televised. Didn't even get into that one. GA Plus didn't even bother showing.
No, we're just doing all the games this weekend.
Even
No
though
one
they
will be
showed
watching.
10.
There'll be no GA coverage if it wasn't for GA Plus.
You are the king of propaganda, aren't you?
It is going well, though. I must say, I'm happy with GA Plus. I think it's very good. I think,
I think it's brilliant.
all the what you call them pundits, but all the lads on it are very good as well. It runs smoothly.
Lads and
It's,
ladies. Ash and Grania as well.
Oh yeah, brilliant. In
It's
fairness, to them
Stacky
also.
earlier in the year. Legend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, there's
Great people to work with, I must say. Hopefully that comes across in the productions.
Sometimes.
yeah.
Are you still doing interviews? I want to see some more car crash interviews after games.
I'll try and get a good one now. If Dublin beat Cork, I'll try and get a good one on.
Do. Get some more.
Paddy Coffee Byrne had a bit of an edge about him in that game, didn't he? He played with a bit of aggression. I like that.
Yeah, do you know what? It was like coming up against, obviously, Glass. That Glass was brilliant as well. Like, he's been, whatever about Derry's form been up and down, Glass has been exceptional all season for them. Patter, same over at Salt Hill as well, to be fair to him. He's fucking ginormous. Like, you know, even for the throw up, he's just like one arm up. What a weapon to have. It was a great game for him, yeah.
He can
That's what
move as
happened,
well.
yeah.
He's fit. He can get up and down the field for a big match.
Joe O'Connor from Kerry, these guys, younger players coming through, takes a bit of time, and then they can announce themselves and they can go throw the shackles off and realise I belong here. I'm in this team. So
Yeah.
no doubt that was he was key. That first half, he was maybe with him a little bit in the second half, but no, he was a massive performance for Dublin. Yeah.
Okay. Lads, thanks a million. Thanks to everybody for tuning in. I'll get this up now. It's late on Monday
Thanks to
evening.
Meath, Tommy. Thanks to Meath for
We'll have it
a
up.
bit of life in the championship now.
Yeah, but I'm just making sure that you aren't getting comfortable with us. That you aren't happy.
It's
to
all
see
us now.
doing what we're doing.
I didn't even know you were from Meath for the last 3.5 years.
I thought he was Clare. He was him and fucking
He was.
Collins. Him and Colin Collins for the last 4 years. It's like Clare.
Call him this, call him that. Oh, the Collins lads. Oh, and now one win. He's changed his tune.
I'm only going to whisper it once. We're back. We're back. We're back.
Delighted. That is the kiss of death that I was waiting for. Honestly.
Clip it. Clip that.
I'm going to edit that out. I'm only
it.
joking. I'm only getting ahead of myself. Isn't it great? What a championship. We've so many teams to talk about. It's brilliant, isn't it?
It is.
Clip it.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's brilliant. And we're back with our members pod on... We'll have it for you Wednesday. So we'll have plenty more to talk about then. Boys, we'll leave it there. Talk soon.
See you, boys.
Class.